Hello friends, a warm welcome to all the UPSC aspirants who are preparing for the prelims as well as the mains for the next year, for the coming exams. So today we bring you a discussion on the Hindu newspaper dated February the 10th of 2017. So let us first discuss about the front page. In the front page as such today there are not much relevant news, but I would like you to mark the news which reads, India formally requests UK to hand over Malya. Okay, so the similar news is being continued on page number 10. Okay, you can see the picture of the person, so just mark that one. Okay, so now let us understand that what we have to read actually about in the news. So don't go by the news, I would say, just try to understand what it is saying. I mean, what is the conclusion, because that is what which you have to remember at the end of the day. Okay, we cannot remember anything and everything. So the point to be noted are that the formal process of extradition that has been started by India, this is a major point. Okay, and this, why this case is being brought up again and again, you have to understand that. So it is just because this case is expected to test UK's ability to assist India in dealing with financial fraud, right? And just these 2 points and nothing else about this news. Okay, so now let's move on to page 14, and there you have see the big one, I mean it's highlighted, SEBI to form panel to facilitate crowdfunding. So whenever you read a news, you just ask a few questions to yourself. So see, the first thing which comes into our mind is, what is crowdfunding? We are talking about crowdfunding, so what is it? It is a form of raising capital from friends, families, relatives, or like anybody or well-wishers through an online or offline mode. Okay, like for example, suppose you want to make a product and you aren't getting your funding, so you just give an advertisement about it, and then slowly like some people will get interested in it and they will provide you with some small sort of funding, right? So here we are talking about that crowdfunding, that concept, and SEBI is trying to form a panel to facilitate it. Now, what is the main purpose of facilitating a crowdfunding? So there are mainly 2 words, I would rather say, you have to remember, so that you find it very easy, to mark the options during your prelims exam. The first one is to facilitate crowdfunding of genuine venture. So just note the word genuine venture. Okay, and second is to mobilize household savings into financial market. So again the next word is household savings. Okay, that household savings, you have to bring it into the financial market. Now there are several challenges that are involved with it. The first one is getting the KYC norms. We all know your customer. Okay, second thing is raising money without any due diligence, and hence it entails risk. Okay, so in crowdfunding, details of the persons giving the money is unknown, so it might be misused for terror funding and all. Okay, so we all know about it, and due to such apprehensions, you can also see it's written in the news as well. Even England and New Zealand, they have allowed crowdfunding, but they have imposed certain restrictions on them. Okay, let's continue then. We move on to page number 13. So there you see on the top right hand side, it's a news, Center to raise EPFO's equity investments to 15%. So whenever you are reading the news for the first time, you will feel like what is happening, EPFO, equity and all this. So first you have to clarify yourself with each and every word that is written in the news. Okay, so you need to know that EPFO invests in equity, it has been raising it by 5% each year. Like in 2015 it was 5%, and it was increased by 5% in 2016, which made it 10%. And we all know simple mathematics, if it is raised by 5% again in 2017, it will become 15%. So that's just what the news is trying to say all about. Okay, and if there are certain minor tidbit points, you just go through it about the, like, if we do it, we have, then we would receive returns in the range of 8 to 9% annually and all that. Just mark it, okay, and move to the next news. The next news is the one right below it, and it says Finance Minister says electoral bond purchasers names protected by bank confidentiality. Now, we all know that the budget has been announced recently, and there the Finance Minister has talked about two things. I mean, he has talked about many things, but there are two things related to this news, and it is about rupees 2000 limit on cash donations to parties, political parties, and the other is that he has referred to electoral bonds. Now, what are electoral bonds? See, people can buy these bonds from RBI or any other banking institution as finalized by the government, and they can donate this to the political parties, and the political parties can further go to the banks to encash them. Now, then what is the purpose of it, the basic purpose of introducing this electoral bonds? So, in this way the confidentiality of the donor is maintained, okay, you do not disclose it, and due to the secrecy clause of the banks, that is, the banks can't give account details to either the government or the courts. Okay, so no one knows who has brought these funds, these bonds. Okay. So, it provides a clean political funding. Okay. So, we now move to the other news on the same page at the bottom. Center to send experts to expedite talks at WTO. So, in yesterday's discussion, I think sir has already discussed about it. So, if you have not read about it, you just go back and have a look at that one, and it says all about like India is for trade facilitation of services and nothing else. I mean, this sort of something, you just go back and have a look at yesterday's discussion. Okay, and the final one in this page is just on the top left hand side. Amazon joins Flipkart Snapdeal to oppose GST's tax at source plan. Now, like what they are apprehending is that rupees 400 crore annual loss to small sellers and a loss of 2 lakh jobs. Okay, so these are being apprehended if the GST's tax at source plan is executed. This is all you need to know about it. And the rest of the news, you just rest of the part, you just go through it once yourself. See, everything cannot be spoon fed in this exam. You have to read it all by yourself. However videos, however things you look at or you hear or whatever, you just read it yourself. Okay, so we now move on to page number 12. There you have 3 important news according to me. The first one is Exiled Maldives leader Nasheed sets sights on 2018 polls. So, it is related to your IR, international relations. Okay. And I think just going through the news will be fine. There are no like too much facts or points that are to be noted. You just go through it once. The second one is the House of Commons passes the Brexit bill. Again, it's a continuation. We all know, like we all follow the newspaper every day, and this Brexit, the topic is going on for a long time, and so it's just a continuity. Just read it in the flow. The third one is that, like 2 news side by side they are important from the prelims point of view especially. The one is Dhaka criticized for refugee relocation plan. Here you need to mark the name of the island, Thengar Char, and you need to mark that on the geographical, take a map and you just try to find out where it is, because UPSC, we all know, have a tendency of asking such questions, such map based questions, and these things which are in news, it will be nice if you mark it in your map every day. And the last one is IS fires rockets at Israel from Egypt. So here you just need to know that Islamist Hamas movement. Okay, question might come like this, that Islamist Hamas movement is associated with 4 options. Okay, and also you need to note that Egypt is one of just 2 Arab nations that have signed a peace treaty with the Jewish. So these are the things which might confuse you during your prelims exam, okay, between the options. We now move on to page 10 again, and here you see the news is IEDs kill more commoners than VIPs. That is what NSG is saying rather. So here we have some data which could be useful from the mains point of view. You can just write it down somewhere in your copy or just mark it. You see, mostly it is the common citizens who are affected, and the security and all this are facilitated for the VIPs. So that is the main thing, and as per the data it shows that 55% of these devices are set off in the public places, and only 7% of the attacks were targeted at the VIPs. That is all you have to know from it. Okay, and the next one is Parikar Mattis agree to boost defense partnership. So here just go to the second paragraph of the news. You see that, just mark it, that as per the telephonic conversation, the two have discussed cooperation under the Defense Technology Trade Initiative, DTTI. Okay, just mark it, and major defense partner status, joint development of defense platforms. So these are the things that they have discussed upon. The next one is India rejects report of US faith panel. Now see, in US, the faith panel, they have claimed that certain things are performed in India according to religion which are considered as crimes, and they are not agreeing to it. Okay, but India is denying such things, that such things are going on in India. So India on Thursday rejected the criticism from the US Commission on International Religious Freedom, USCIRF, that religious minorities in the countries continue to face vigilantism and constitutional challenges. So that's all from the first paragraph, and this is, I think it's mostly useful from the prelims point of view. Okay, so we now move on to the next page, that is page number 9. So here we have got the articles, and it says TPP is dead but its legacy lives on. So we all know that TPP, Trans-Pacific Partnership, and it was recently news because US has walked out of it. So TPP, in TPP they have designed certain rules and regulations, which can be used in future in RCEP, but those are threatening for India. So now why they are threatening for India and all that? So for that you have to go through the entire article. It's written in plain and simple, you can understand very easily. Just read the entire article, it's very important, just go through it. Next is page number 8, bowing down to patriarchy. Now you see, just a day before there was an article about it again on the Hindu and newspaper, and there it was mentioned very clearly, like I will just repeat it once. In Nagaland, we know that there is an issue going on regarding 33% reservations for women in the urban local bodies. So, as we all know that it was written there that in Nagaland mostly the Naga in between the Nagas the patriarchal mindset prevails. So, they are opposing to this fact of 33% reservations of the women in the urban local bodies. But the Supreme Court has said that according to Part 9A of the Constitutions under Article 243T that women are supposed to be given 33% reservations. Okay. So, it is mostly important from the men's perspective, and these articles that are being mentioned that related to this article like Article 371A of the Constitution, okay, and all this the apex group of 16 tribal groups, the Naga Ho and all this. So, these are important facts from the prelims point of view, but as such the entire article is relevant mostly from the mains point of view. So, you just go through it once. Next is prudence amid uncertainty. So, it is about the rates that RBI has changed. Okay. So, you can just read the first line. The Reserve Bank of India has shifted its policy poise, moving to neutral from an accommodative stance. Rest is all like philosophical things over here in the entire article. If you like, you can read it. Okay. That's all. And next we move on to the temptation to go viral. Now, see, this article is relevant from the GS paper 4, that is ethics point of view, and not much is to be remembered, but mostly it has to be understood, like in what on what note, on what grounds these are being like spoken. And Karnataka now has a good Samaritan law that protects the kind hearted citizen helping an accident victim from police harassment. You know, there has been many articles on this topic, like during an accident people do not help the victims and they are left to die on the road and all this. So, like what ethical issues or what ethical dilemmas does work inside a person at these situations, and what are the steps that are to be taken and all this. So, just go through it. Okay. Now, we move on to page 7. So, here only one news, I think, Aadhaar number mandatory for subsidies center. Okay. So, just have to remember that Aadhaar number has been made mandatory for providing any kind of subsidies and transfer facilities and all this under, like, for food subsidy under the National Food Security Act. Just this much I think will suffice. So, then we move on to page 6. It reads, forest fire Kerala to enlist NASA help. Now, forest fire has been a major problem in our country, be it Kerala, be it Uttarakhand and all this. So, now Kerala is saying that it will take NASA's help, okay, and the Dehradun based Forest Survey of India will provide the inputs from NASA. So, you know, they will receive real time SMS alerts about the exact location of the forest fires. So, we all can see that some 165 forest fires occurred in Kerala in 2016, with the highest number recorded in Wayanad and Idukki. So, just remember that fact, some 165 forest fires have occurred in Kerala in 2016. So, this is the data, and that's all for this news. Okay. Now, next one is mostly from the prelims point of view. Nilambar Tech set to enter elite club of products with the GI tag. Okay. So, now the facts that are to be remembered here, you know, the name of the products which have got the GI registration. You see the last paragraph of the news. Pokali rice, you can mark it, and other Kerala products with GI registrations include this some sort of pineapple, that's written over here, Vazakulam pineapple, Vayanadan rice varieties, Jirakasala and Gandhakasala, Tirur betel wine, Central Travancore jaggery, and this Chengali Kodan. It's a banana variety. It was in news last year too, and this sort of things, these facts are usually being asked in alternate years in prelims. Okay, they are usually being asked. So to be on the safe side, we can just remember these things, these facts. So that's all I think from today's newspaper. Hope to meet you soon. Thank you.